However you want.
Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and welcome to another ENFP male interview. Today I get to interview Bartosz. So welcome, man.
Hey, thank you.
So can you tell us what your full type is?
Yeah, I'm ENFJ, Fe-Se, play, blast, consume, sleep, blast, audio.
So dude, we have the exact same animals and sexual modality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Frank.
how do you feel? What did you feel and what did you think when you got your results back?
Oh, I mean, I was pretty shocked. I typed myself obviously completely upside down.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. So the most shocking part was probably just like the animal stack. I would have not guessed that I'm all the way on the far right.
Yeah. And I felt the same way when I got my type back too. I was like, oh my God, I'm on the far right, the extreme far.
Yeah. Man.
So even though we have the same type, like same animal, sorry, we have no functions that are the same. So we have completely different functions. So let's go through your functions right now. And let's start with your first one, which is extrovert feeling, and it's feminine. So talk about your feminine extrovert feeling.
Yeah. Am I supposed to talk about it?
Yeah. Can you like
what is it like?
Yeah, what's it like exactly?
Gee, it's just it's like you're like walking around butt naked all the time and trying to please everybody at the same time. That's the best way I could describe it for you. Like everyone's looking at you, judging you, and then you are also trying to like run around and make everyone happy.
Okay, I'm interested in the word that you use. Like everyone is judging you, which is like a very EJIP kind of language.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
I don't know, like the observer decider coin was the one that I was very certain that I had right. They could have typed me like complete opposite, whatever. If they had told me that I was an observer, I would have just been absolutely blown away. But because I kind of knew I was just a decider. Like if my house or apartment was lit on fire, I feel like I could weasel my way out of that one pretty okay. It obviously sucked, but you know, you could get through it. But like, I don't know, the people thing. It's just like constantly thinking about people.
It's interesting to hear it from a decider perspective, because from an observer perspective, you know, for you, you say that you're always walking around naked and people are always judging you. But for me, it's like no one gives a shit about me, so I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I I just remember like little examples and stuff from just like, because I grew up with what I believe to be a lot of observers. So to see like them getting all weird about like communism and the government and things like that, and I'm just like, this is what you're freaking out about? Like the receipt you got back from the cashier, and there's like somebody over there, he's judging you, you know?
they don't care.
Like that's the big problem. That guy's looking at me and I don't know why.
Yeah. So what is it about judgment that bugs you? Or like, yeah.
Probably the fact that I do it a lot myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know. It's you know it's fake, because like if I'm not freaking out about communism but everybody else is, then from my perspective it's kind of like you guys are going a little overboard. And it's I know it's I've always kind of known it's a little too much to be freaking out about people all the time. I forgot what the question was.
It's okay. I like how you have pretty good self-awareness for the fact that you knew that you were also judgmental yourself.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that? Because I have seen that IPs and EJs tend to be judgmental themselves. That's why they're scared of me. While the IP, the EPs and IJs, they're like, oh, if people do some crazy stuff, we don't care. it's like whatever. We're not gonna judge you. You know, it's like, you know, you mirror your fears essentially. So
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, like if you asked me, like, is judgment necessary? I would say yes. That's just like a part of human. Like when you hand somebody your resume and they look at it, they're judging you based on the paper you just gave them, right? Or when you're in court, the judge, literally the judge is judging you. It's what was yeah, okay, see, and I'm just going all over the place. Yeah, but when I see myself and I know that that's true, I have to judge this or that because that's like my obligation as a human. You kind of reverse it on yourself and you're just like, if that was me, that would like hurt or whatever. So
well, I mean, the way I see it is like I don't want people to judge me, so I don't judge other people, you know. So
oh really? Wow, complete opposite.
yeah. Do you want people to judge you then?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay, talk about that. Like do you want them to judge you in a good way, I guess, I suppose? Like in a
I
good
want them to judge me in an honest way, because I mean, it's like you have to be able. It's like criticism. You can use that judgment to like help build yourself up, I guess.
right.
Um, yeah. So it's like information being given back to me, like, oh, your hair is kind of weird, so I should maybe consider fixing it.
Right.
Or like if I'm working on something, I work as an engineer, and especially like my principal engineer, who I also believe to be FE, very much believes that we need to be constantly sharing our stuff with each other for it to be judged. Otherwise, we're just going to work in a vacuum and create a pile of crap. So that judgment is kind of a tool. It hurts a lot sometimes, but it's a tool that you can use.
Okay, so I have a few interesting questions for you based on your specific type, because you have an interesting type, because you are an info dominant EJ.
Yes.
So when you said that you wanted honest feedback, there's two things that pop in my head. The first one is, so I'll ask, it's like a two-part question. The first one is, do you feel like you want an honest feedback, even though you have extra feeling, because you are info dominant? So you want the accuracy of the feedback, like the accuracy of the information from the feedback. So that's the first part. So maybe you want to answer that first, and I'll go to the second part.
Yeah, because I'm going to forget the question.
Yes, yeah, I just remembered you probably would forget.
What was the last question again?
Oh, you forgot the question already?
Yeah, I just forgot.
Okay, it's okay. It's all good too. So my question was, do you feel like you want an accurate, honest feedback because you're info dominant?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a little bit. Maybe it is kind of like I'm using blast and consume in the middle. You know, back and forth. Like, okay, gotta like info out, info in. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that is it. That could very well be it.
Okay, because
I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, no worries. Because the second part of my question actually ties into that too, which is you have extrovert feeling, meaning you're always vibing with people. But because you're info dominant, so you're always vibing with people, right? But because you're info dominant, like the information is almost more important than the vibe. It's like you're like a weird like a paradox almost. I don't know if that makes sense.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. It's like that one. Do you remember? I'm not sure if you're still in the class, but there was a class recently where they were talking about the ESFJ lady and how like the FE and the SI kind of clash because like you're vibing, but like also like I need control in the sensory, so it's kind of hard to. Is that kind of like what you're getting at?
Well, what I'm getting at is like I'm still in the class, but so that what I'm trying to get at is if you are an energy dominant person, then you know the energy is more important, right? Like preserving energy, but also like like the goofiness and stuff. But for you, because you're info dominant, it's almost like like the feedback is very important to be accurate, because for you, like I notice with people who are info dominant, they don't like people who lie to them. They want like the truth essentially.
Yeah.
So regardless of the type, even if they have the person's FE, so
Yeah.
so I don't know, like how do you perceive it for yourself? Like, is that true, or is that like not true?
Partially. So I'd say it's partially what you just described. Sure. I do find myself being very like strict on the information. It's got to be correct. We need to have constant flowing information. It's kind of hard to just go out like that, vibe in that way. It's informational vibing. But also the poles, like like double activated play sleep last. I find myself going through such like heavy, like 1 second I'm like playing the guitar, singing, whatever, and then you just swing, and it's like, leave me alone. Gotta go lock myself in my room. Don't wanna, sleep last crash. So that also contributes to like FE being kind of difficult to use, I guess.
Right.
So there's those two things, I suppose. That would make sense.
Yeah, I can relate to that crash, like leave me alone,
Yeah.
like lock yourself.
Oh man.
Yeah, I relate to that. All right. So so even though you're info dominant and you want people to give you honest feedback, because you have feminine extrovert feeling, do you want the feedback to be like a friendly criticism as opposed to like a harsh criticism?
I'd prefer a harsh criticism.
So you want them to hurt your feelings?
Maybe a little bit. No, I feel like it's less that. It's just like I'll kind of like take offense to it. If they're trying really hard to sugarcoat something for me, it's almost like offensive, like that you'd think that I wouldn't be able to take it from you.
Okay. Oh wow, that's interesting. How would people know that's the right feedback to give you though? Because like people are not aware, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't know, I suppose. So I don't get what I want.
I guess it's
If it
hard
was
for
up
you.
to me, we'd be walking around constantly like judging each other. Like, your shirt's ugly. You're an idiot. You're dumb and wrong. Like, just like, because then the information's just constantly out there and you can grab it.
Yeah. Right. Oh, dude. Yeah. Yeah. You're the info dominant ENFJ is so different from the energy dominant one. Like you guys, it's like night and day difference. So yeah. Yeah. No, they wouldn't like that. Now, if you're getting if you're getting criticized and getting like a harsh feedback, do you want it behind closed doors instead of like being publicly?
No, I don't want people to, I don't want to hear ye, and then start announcing all of my faults to everybody. No, it would have to be like, like in a corner, like,
Yeah.
you smell or something.
Right. Okay. So you're okay with it as long as it's like in private, like
Yeah,
yeah.
because like the goal is to take that information and then change, use that however you will, change something, do something, and then come back out. But then if everybody already knew that, then what was the point of changing it,
Right. Then you get more judgment because everyone's gonna tunnel vision on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay. Let's go over your second savior, extrovert sensing. It's masculine.
And yet I keep forgetting what the question was.
Yeah, I'll repeat it twice. So your second second function is extrovert sensing. It's masculine.
Right.
You're gathering facts. You already said earlier, if your house burns down, it's not like you can wiggle your way out. That means it's not personal. But talk about like how else do you use the masculine extrovert sensing personally?
If I'm at work and I need to my job right now as an engineer is like I work in like firmware. We design like firmware for like avionic equipment and stuff. So that goes through very, very strict like FAA, protocol to get that thing out to a customer, whoever that may be. Well, right. My job right now is to verify. So like I write code that tests, I write like software code that tests the firmware and it passes and fails and stuff according to, whatever the guidelines are. If I'm going to go to a designer or whoever to try to convince them that they're wrong, I like take pictures, I'll like screenshots, I'll take snippets of code. I'll take their words and use it against them to like formulate this sensory. You can't win against this, you know? So that's, sorry, go ahead.
It sounds like it's not just sensory, it's also sensory plus info dominant. Like you are unstoppable with the info.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's my weapon. If I'm going to try to like win against somebody, I'm gonna go, you know, find as many facts and just like throw. I don't know how would an energy dominant with savior masculine SC do that? Like, if it's masculine and it's sensory, you use that as like a whatever.
Right. But I guess they're not doing any research or they don't blast it. So no one, yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, because you're doing both, right? You gather the information and then you blast it out. So because you have masculine extrovert sensing also, and it's in a savior state, would you say you kind of grew up athletic or kind of like a jock? No?
No, absolutely not. I was yeah, I mean, I've always been, I guess, like I never had a hard time with like gym class or anything like that. I never really cared either though. So I bet you like if I really found a sport or something that I liked, I would get into it and I would get pretty good at it, but I never really cared for sports. I ran, you know, I liked to run as a kid. I liked to jump over fences as a kid. I liked all that stuff, but
I see. And you like to smash things too with that masculine?
oh yeah, man. Yeah, I do like to cause damage.
What's the enjoyment from smashing? I don't because I have a masculine SI, so I don't smash, right? So I'm curious.
I don't know. It's just it's nice to see something that was there and then now it's not.
Okay, the destruction is fun.
I don't know. It's just like impulse. I just like the.
So if you got into a fight with someone, your best way of attacking them is like a good punch in the face or like a nice like kick in the, you know.
Yes.
Yes. No, because I have masculine SI, right? So for me, like punching someone would not be my go-to because it's SI's controlling the physical. So I'd rather strangle them with like with a rope, you know, like that's you know, smack someone in the face.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay.
No, I wouldn't go. No, I'm gonna throw stuff, whatever I gotta do. I'm gonna,
Projectiles. Sure. Okay, projectiles. Got it. All right. And then if you combine those two together, you have a double activated SF play. So it's like the you know, the cool vibe, right? The cool guy vibe. So talk about that.
Yeah, I'm real cool.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Growing up, I wouldn't say I was very. Was I cool? I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm cool or not. Yeah, I mean, I like to play the guitar, and I picked up an accordion. Like play for people, sing for people, whatever.
Yeah.
I like to. I've gotten into like brewing beers and wine and stuff like that. So I like to do that and like invite people over, have them try it and stuff like that. I don't know. Like when I come out to the people, it's usually with some kind of, and it always has been. I used to do magic tricks and stuff, some kind of sensory like joy. I don't know. That's my way of like communication. And even at work, like if I'm working on something, sending an email, I can't just like send a plain old email. It has to like have a joke or something.
Got it. Okay, that makes perfect sense then with the SF play. And you're also good at entertaining people, and you're also masculine feminine, so you're gonna be funny. So you have all this like, you know, working for you. Next is let's talk about your feminine NI. So you have feminine NI. Like, do you find it difficult to use it, or you're okay with it? Because
no, sometimes I feel like I use my NI more comfortably than I use my SC. Even I don't. Yeah, it's activated. I must maybe just use blast a lot. I don't know. It's activated by blast, so it's not hard for me to use NI. The fact that it's feminine, I guess, is kind of wishy, you know, wishy-washy. I'm not like very, you know. No, I find it pretty easy to use. I would say I use analogies a lot and things like that. I do like it a lot too. It's probably one of my favorite functions.
And then you like to organize your concepts and ideas then into like something.
Yeah, I don't like to organize my closet or anything like that. I like to organize concepts and stuff.
I think the good thing about your specific type, the play blast, as opposed to blast play, is like if you were a blast play, whatever you're teaching to people is not going to be as fun, because the play makes it like more fun and engaging and then you go with the information after, right?
Yeah.
But you can still blast like pretty well. It's just that the fun needs to be there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And your blast is NF, so it's like the purpose, meaning, so talk about that, like, how do you use that personally to like pump people up, I guess, or to motivate them?
Well, first of all, if you haven't noticed already, I do find like communication is still difficult, I suppose, even though it's blast savior, and NF is very like, ugh, so it's kind of hard to like get things like sorted out in the sensory or whatever.
Yeah.
To like deliver the information. But yeah, coming out to people and then communicating and stuff, it's gotta like I guess emotion and stuff is like it's part of the communication, I suppose. Like to emote and laugh and smile, you use that to emphasize on points and things like that.
Okay. Got it. So you don't do like the Gary V stuff then, because like you're pretty much the same like type of same, except he's double masculine.
The Gary V stuff, like what? Entrepreneurship?
Not entrepreneurship, but like, the way he pumps people up, right? Like he'll say things like like, you don't know what people are gonna like, so just put it out there, and then, so take whatever that is that you're passionate about and just talk about it nonstop, and then one of them is gonna hit, and then you're gonna be good to go, and then just focus on that,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I ever do get into like, if I'm like sitting with a friend or something and we do start talking about like a heavy subject or something, I do find that my communication style is sort of similar. I do kind of see why he's saying the things he's saying, having, something similar to my brain. And I suppose I would like project that onto another person if I was to like give them my life story or something like that, to try to use that to pump them up.
Got it.
But I'm not a motivational speaker.
Well, that's what Gary Vee also said. I'm not a motivational speaker, and then he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe after a few vodka seltzers.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your consume next. Your consume is ST, so you're getting facts, numbers, statistics, and stuff. Do you find yourself being able to do it no problem? Like when you need to, of course, because it's still a demon, right? But
yeah, I need to use that at work. As I said before, if I have to convince somebody of something, I go in and search out what sensory proof that I can give them to just like dump in like one thing onto them for it to be irrefutable, right?
Right.
I mean that's what I do at work right now. Yeah. So yeah, I do find myself, I do that a lot. Yeah, sure. When I'm not blasting, so basically in a demon state. Yes.
I guess yeah, to defend yourself if someone's calling you out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the consume is double masculine, right? For me.
Yes. Talk about the double masculine part of that consume.
Well, that's just it. That's my weapon. What am I gonna use to smash or attack is, I guess, going to be sensory, and it should be logically connected.
Right.
I'm not gonna, I suppose, yeah, sometimes like they talk about the FEs and how we use shame as a weapon.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Okay, fine. But that's like, I guess, you know, under pressure. If I was to just like, all right, I need to like get this guy down or something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to use like facts to prove that he's dumb.
Yeah. I think the ones that likes to shame people, it's more like the SIFE people, like that, So I think the NIFE people, you guys like to pump people up as opposed to like to shame them with FE.
Yeah. If I have to, then sure, I could use shame as a weapon.
Yeah, I just haven't seen like your function stack like use shame as much as like the SIFE do,
Yeah, maybe we're better at it.
Yeah, but I've seen you guys use it to like encourage people, or pump
Yeah.
them up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your TI, man. This is going to be like the biggest one here, the masculine TI. This is your identity. I don't know where to start with this, but do you want to share anything about your masculine TI?
Well, okay, so I typed myself originally as TI first. I think I typed myself as feminine TI first. So I just see the TI like it's tied to my identity. Absolutely, it is interesting. It doesn't make sense to me that it would be, but like that concept makes sense to me. It's something that I've always been interested in, and I'd really get into. Peacocking a lot. I'm an engineer. That's like my career. I chose that as my career path to go study computer and electrical engineering, and then pursued that as a career. Not something you would expect an FE guy to do, but that's what I did.
Yeah, I interviewed an ESFJ also who did the same thing as you, like also chose like a more NT field. Yeah. Your identity, do you tie it to your intelligence? Like if someone were to make you come across as stupid, would you like just lose it?
I wouldn't lose it, but yeah, that's I guess how you'd get me.
Right.
Yeah, that is, yeah, for sure.
So if someone calls you like you're so stupid, like you would like just
yeah, I'd probably go to my bedroom and cry.
Okay. You said, do you cry easily with that feminine FE, would you say?
No, I don't cry a whole lot. I don't, the last time I cried was a couple years ago.
Okay. Because people with T, we abuse the word stupid like all the time because we don't care, right, about intelligence. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even a compliment.
Not a big deal. It's like me. I have a friend who I also believe to be FE, and I just love him to death because we'll just toss around like, oh, that song is stupid. You like that thing? Terrible. And we'll just like back and forth like, you eat your macaroni and cheese with a spoon. What are you, sick? And we just kind of go back and forth and punch each other with like the values of stuff.
Right.
And people just like, I know who the FI person is, because if I go and do that to them, they're not gonna bounce back, or like, come back and like play this game with me.
Oh yeah, because they don't care. They did a class with Joe Biden, and he was talking about his like identity, pretty much like the truth about his identity. Do you have something like that? Like he said, like I'm an athlete, like blah blah blah, like I'm a family man, like do you have any of that stuff?
I'm an engineer.
Okay.
You're saying like what is true about me is my identity?
Yeah, I mean that's how Joe Biden was, kind of like saying about his own identity.
Interesting. I'm not sure, really. That's kind of a joke. I'm Demon TI and Sleep Last.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard to see my identity in the first place.
Right. Okay. Is there any like inkling feeling or whatever, like you kind of guess what it is?
It would be somewhere in the realm of intellect.
Intellect. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Sleep Last then. Your Sleep Last is NTI. It's used to figure things out, but it's the way you figure things out is personal to you because it's in a sleep position. So talk about like, because you're an engineer, so you do have to figure things out. It's part of your job, so you do have to use your fourth animal. You have no choice. Otherwise, you would be out of job right now. and it's sleep, so it's personal. So how are you figuring things out on your own? You know.
I couldn't imagine like writing code next to somebody. You know, when I was graduating with with my degree, we have to do like a end of the year project. Not end of the year project, sorry, senior design project. It's a full year long project, and me and my friends from school, we designed this like an irrigation system. It could like communicate over like antennas and stuff with water pumps and stuff, and it shut them on and off and stuff. And I did a lot of the code work because that's kind of my forte. But like there would constantly be problems because obviously coding can be very difficult and complicated. So I'd set up my laptop, and like if a friend came over to like help me, like we would like try to discuss over the code, that just doesn't work. I would take my laptop, and since we were in like farmland, I would go into a shed and just like sit on a tractor and do it myself. Because I feel like I'm wasting my time in trying to like figure something out with somebody else. Like I just need to go in and do it myself.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. But I guess with code, you do have to do it by yourself, though. It's kind of like a solo thing. So
yeah, like you, especially since with things like that, you're going layers and layers and layers deep, and then like I dug those holes. So
yeah,
how am I supposed to bring in Kendrick, and then he's gonna help me figure out what layer I'm talking about, right?
yeah. No, it doesn't it doesn't make sense in that case. Do you find that engaging to have those to put together like layers of code?
Yeah, I love it. Though what I do right now at work, it's not like Java or C++, or Python. Well, I do a little bit of Python, but it's not what people think or what most people know about. We design like computer logic, right? So like it'll go on to an FPGA, field programmable gate array, and then the language is called VHDL. It's a hardware description language. So it's like you're kind of sketching out like a logic circuit in code. So there's like things like you can instantiate things inside of a top level thing, and you'd like stitch the thing together with code. So it's like a puzzle, and I just love it to death.
Man, that sounds horrific to me. I would hate that. Like I remember studying C++ in high school, and I freaking hated it. You know.
No, this is this is like if I have to, because in C++ you could define like an int type.
Yeah.
This is like so down low that if you're gonna define something, you have to define it as an input or an output, and then how many bits it is. So like 8 bits input or something like that.
You know what's cool is like it just goes to show that it doesn't matter where your TI is, you can do all that stuff still, you know.
Oh
like,
yeah. I'll get, if I'm at a bar and I'm giving out a tip or something like that, I always use my phone for a calculator. So and I get embarrassed about that, but yeah, I mean everybody can do anything.
Right. Oh, I can't do that coding stuff. So, like because I have FI, so for me it's like I go deep with the human behavioral psyche, but not the coding stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Let's talk about your sexual modalities. You're masculine, feminine, so you are audio kinesthetic. So talk about let's start with the audio stuff. So earlier you're talking about like playing the music and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you learn best from like hearing? Or
no. No.
Okay.
I learned best kind of like by myself, I guess.
Okay.
Either like through play, like going and talking when I was in school to a professor, and I'd stop him in the hall or whatever and just like back and forth.
Okay.
Or going by myself and trying to like bang the things together. Not like it, like somebody could tell me something and I probably am not listening. I'm known to be very like spaced out, not paying attention. So when somebody says something to me, I'll only catch like 20% of what they said.
I see. Okay. Do you like to listen to audiobooks or no?
Yes, I prefer audiobooks over like physical books.
Okay, so there, I guess that's where the auditory stuff is coming, plus the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess when you were saying you want to work with it yourself, like tinker with it, that's your kind of kinesthetic, like you want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Like literally physically bang the blocks together.
Yeah, yeah, physically, exactly. You're doing it like not as an analogy, you're actually doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Um, let's talk about you being an EP. So you're an EJ EP, right? So you're gonna be talk about being chaotic and like loves gathering, essentially. Like talk about that.
I mean, you're sitting here in front of me, like you see how I'm all over the place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not very collected.
No.
This is even though I'm Savior Blast, it's still kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I prefer living in. You know what? I'm not even gonna say I prefer living in the chaos. It's just like I can't not live in the chaos.
Right. Well, I mean, even if you're all over the place, it makes you more fun and engaging,
Sure.
entertaining. So it has like a lot of perk to it, right? Because like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Who's gonna go buy an expensive vintage accordion from some random Ukrainian guy on the internet and then learn it in a day?
Yeah. Yeah. You.
Me.
Yeah. You. The audio kinesthetic guy with hype. So I feel like you are like the pure blood EJ. And hear me out. So because play is an EJ animal essentially, and because it's your first animal, it ties directly into your type, right? And then because EJs are double observers, so that means you're not weird with the information. So you have blast and consume in the middle, right? Which are info animals. And then
sorry, keep talking.
Yeah, go for it. Okay. So and then the last part is like sleep. Sleep is like an IP animal. So your sleep lasts. So it kind of makes you like the pure blood EJ because everything is like lined up. How do you feel being like what a pure blood EJ is supposed to be? Do you like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, sorry about that. That was my dog. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, as I described before, it really much is like I could be in the most chaotic, crazy situation, and I will get like weird, but it turns into like if it does get intense and I do feel anxious or whatever, it becomes a people thing. So I have actually a perfect example. This was pretty scary. It was like a year. Yeah, it was in the middle of like COVID or whatever, right? And I was taking a final exam online, and in my mind, because I don't keep a calendar, so I'm kind of crazy that way. Most people keep like a calendar or something. I just kind of like remember everything, but occasionally I'll screw up. So I had a final exam that I thought was on Thursday, but it turned out to be on Wednesday. So like I completely missed it, and then I started emailing the professor like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," or whatever. Can I please take it? And I was just so upset with myself, and like I was afraid that I was going to fail the class, and I'm gonna have to take it again, and it's gonna be embarrassing, and this and that. And I was very disappointed with myself. But then thankfully the professor emailed me back, and he's like, "Okay, you can take this exam, but I'm gonna take away 30% of it. So the max you could get is a 70%." And then everything was fine. He's like, "Okay, fine, whatever."
Nice. That's good. I guess you can wiggle yourself out from like the observer issues. So it's not yeah. And plus you're an EP too, so EPs are good at wiggling themselves out of a bad situation. So it's like yeah. So I want to go back to the EJ stuff. So EJs are weird when it comes to their identity. Like when you start talking about yourself, that's when it gets like really weird, right? So I'm gonna go ask you some questions about yourself and see if you get weird.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. Because I remember I went to a massage therapist before, and he was an EJ, and he was a black guy. So so I asked him, I'm like, "Oh, where in Africa is your ancestors from?" And he started getting like really freaking weird about it, right? He's like, "I am not African. I am I'm from Jamaica, from the Caribbean, we're not like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like thinking like all black people came from Africa. It's smart, all humans came from Africa, right? So, and he started getting really weird, but he's like, no, and he started like, telling me about himself, and I'm like, oh my God. So I'm gonna ask you the same similar question, and see what happens. Okay. So you're Polish, right? Um, but you're American. So you grew up in the US, right? But your Polish ancestry. So can you talk about a little bit about your Polish ancestry?
I used to get really like, this was a very like heavy subject, and it still is very much a like heavy, if
Yeah.
like if I don't want to get clumped into either one of them exclusively. I don't want to be exclusively American, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be exclusively Polish.
Yeah, you're
I'm
both. Yeah,
I'm
so talk about
both.
that. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, okay, so basically I was born here in the US, but I was born pretty shortly after my parents immigrated to the US. The rest of my family is still in Poland. So I grew up, I didn't speak English until, well, I kind of learned it through like kindergarten and, through like school, because
Right.
my parents spoke to me in Polish. So yeah, and growing up, it was always kind of like weird, like having a first name that nobody could pronounce or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I've stopped caring. Like, if I'll never introduce myself as Bart ever. I am Bartosz. I will never introduce and when people say like, "Oh, Bart," I'll just be like, "Nope, not Bart."
How do you pronounce your name? Like personally, how?
So I mean, around the like when I lived with my parents, or if I'm like with friends or family or whatever, they call me Bartek. So
Bartek?
it's Bartek, EK.
Okay.
The way it's written like that, it's Bartosz.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
But yeah, so like whenever attendance is happening, like I remember first day of school was always just like, all right, somebody's gonna have to say my name. Like I hate it when substitute teachers came in because they had to go like read off a list. So if somebody like you always know it's me because they like hesitate, like, what is this? And then they try to pronounce it, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Next person.
So you don't correct them even though you're info dominant. You don't say Bartek. You say Bart. Just whatever. It's fine.
No. I never did get mad if they mispronounced my name.
Yeah.
And when I was in kindergarten, I must have just not known what attendance was or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I've never gone and like said, "Oh, it's SH or whatever," but
yeah,
I'll never say Bart.
So you don't say Bartek. You say Bartosz is fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the Polish letters, they're pronounced differently. That's why it tripped me up. When I went to Poland, I was trying to go to this one city, and I was like, I'm trying to buy a train ticket. I was like, can I get a ticket to Wrocław? And they're like,
Wrocław.
And then they're like, Wrocław. I'm like, no, Wrocław. And then I'm like, so I was like,
Wrocław.
Yeah. What was that other weird city like? Lodz, but it's actually Łódź or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was all this weird like LSW? What it is?
Yeah.
Or
there's a line through the L.
Yeah. So I was like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, no, I love Poland, man. Like that's my favorite country in Europe. Like,
oh, cool.
Yeah, like Dzień dobry, like.
Dzień dobry.
Yeah. Can you still speak Polish?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you been there though?
Yeah, I was supposed to go a year or two ago, but like COVID hit, so I haven't been there since then. Well, since the last time I went before that. But
where's your family? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was just gonna say, growing up, yeah, we would systematically go back and visit and everything. So you're asking where's my family from?
Yeah, which part of Poland are you guys from?
Closest like major city is called Zielona Góra. It's like very close to the German border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like northwest then?
No. It's more on the like down and left.
Isn't Wrocław near Germany?
Yeah. Yeah. It's closer. Yeah. It's closer to that side. It's near there, I suppose. It's like you're in the ballpark.
I see. Okay. So now that we talked about this, so I really appreciate you like entertaining my little thing here. I think that's the biggest difference between an EPEJ versus like a IJEJ.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you're more willing to entertain the idea, even if it's like kind of like a weird, uncomfortable area. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
So where's the weirdness coming from though? Where do you feel like why is it such like a weird topic for you to like why is it like why can't it be like as simple as like, yeah, I'm both, I'm American and I'm Polish. My family came from Poland, but I'm American because I grew up here. And that's it. Why does it become like weird? Like we're like
Because it's almost like if they had the wrong idea about me, that they would be perceiving me incorrectly.
you don't want
So
people to shove you in a box or something? Like
to what?
you don't want people to shove you into like a box, like a label? Like what's going on?
No. It's that. So if now this is completely irrational, but like if someone just thought, for instance, that I was just American,
Yeah.
like that's incorrect about me. So now that person's gonna walk around thinking the wrong thing about me. That could like turn into something else. It could snowball into a bigger deal than it is. But that doesn't really happen, does it?
Well, if you're American and you're in the US, then nothing really will
I
happen.
understand. I understand.
Yeah.
I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't, again, it's just irrational.
It is. That's why I'm like, I'm curious because like, it's the thing about the EJ that I'm like, why is this happening? It's weird. Like, like,
I don't
that's why
know.
I was hoping that you would be able to like, kind of break it down, like what the feeling is behind it. But like you are American because you are born in the US. Like you
Yeah,
weren't born in Poland, but
that's true.
your ancestors came from Poland, so your ancestry is
Yeah,
Polish.
sure.
So you are both. You're
Yeah.
American
Mhm.
with Polish ancestry, right?
Yeah.
So if someone were to say that, is that like fine then? It's like, oh, so you're American with Polish ancestry, then that's like,
Yeah, that's fine. That works. Yeah. I don't care as much anymore. I've kind of grown out of that a little bit, but
yeah.
yeah, growing up, it very much was like a whole big deal. I've gotten like teachers in trouble over it before.
How come? What happened?
Oh, well, I mean, that one's actually, that's a little bit different, but same idea. This teacher was teaching about like history, right?
Yeah.
And she was teaching about like World War I, and she basically pulled up a slide that said that Poland was not a country before World War I. And I'm just like, well, it got like baptized as like a country in the year 966 AD. And there's all these like dynasties and stuff. I can whip out an encyclopedia book and show you that it was a kingdom and all that before World War I. And she's continued to like go, and she like turned it into a joke. She was like picking on me, right? And she was like telling everybody, nope, never was a country before. And I was getting so like, okay, double masculine ST, info dom, demon identity.
Yeah.
I destroyed that woman, okay?
How do you do
I
it?
brought in an encyclopedia, and then I took it to like the principal, and I had her come and like talk to the principal, and she like resented me for the rest of the time that I was at that school.
Well, I mean, she's being a jerk, to do that to begin
She's
with.
been a jerk, yeah.
And it's also spreading misinformation, which is not.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
info dom, and you're being mean to my DI.
So you had an energy dominant consume last teacher. It sounds like an IJ, probably like an ITJ or something.
Maybe. He's messing with me. But
Making
no.
shit up.
This one was going down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting of all the things that you would fight over. It's that like
Mhm.
that area. So, but it's good that you can fight back though. You have like the ST as the weapon
Yeah.
choice. Smack her in the face with the
Uh-huh.
or with the encyclopedia. Um, all right, cool, dude. I appreciate you sharing that. Actually, that's really good. I think you're gonna help a lot of EJs like kind of like get through this like the weirdness of the identity.
It's not real. It's not real.
Yeah, it's not real. And you can smack them with the facts too, I guess, if you have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I have
Yeah.
proof.
Yeah. Yeah. Something happened to me like that before too. Like not like exactly like the same story as you, but I remember I was in Bolivia because I travel a lot, and I was in the Bolivian airport waiting for my girlfriend to arrive. And then there was like an Israeli guy in the airport, and he looked at me, right? And he said, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Canada." He's like, "Where are you really from?" You know, and I'm like, I grew up in Canada. He's like, "And why do you speak good English? You're Chinese. You're like Asian." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I did get angry at this idiot because he's being a dumbass, like ignorant dumbass, right? So I didn't want to kick him in the face for that, you know. So
Yeah.
so I just don't like ignorance, because like
Uh-huh.
I guess if
Yeah.
in Canada and US or like the UK or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's like multicultural, it's like normal, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's not weird, but like, yeah, I guess if you go to another country, it's weird. Like when I was in France before too. Like a Turkish guy went up to me and it's like, hey China, hey China.
No. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Come on.
I'm like, dude, what the hell? Why are you calling me China? Can you ask for my name and then we could talk normally?
Jeez.
I wouldn't call you like Turkey or like,
Oh man.
you know,
It's so
like,
bad.
yeah, like, what do you hate China? Like, and
Oh man.
so I get like the annoyance with it, the ignorance of it. So it's like it's bad when people are being ignorant about it. Is what I'm trying to say. But
Yeah.
so so it's not whatever you're doing. It's not completely invalid. I think the invalid.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool, dude. So I'll ask you last two questions, and we'll wrap up the interview. Okay.
Okay.
First one is now that you know your full type, since you got officially type, what have you done to practice working on that sleep to like learn more about your your inner truths about yourself?
Good sleep.
Yeah.
Honestly, just being like conscious of it. I've gotten as far as to realizing the conundrum that being sleep like you'd need to have the ability to do sleep in order to know that your sleep lasts and in order to know what to do about it. So like it's like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever to personal growth. Sleep is almost like step 1 kind of, I feel like. It's like sorting out like the inside, like, okay, what's the thing that needs to get done for myself, like going through my bag of known information. And it's that one, like I can like play blasting my way through the rest, but it's that one thing that's just like, oh, so it's just like you're shooting in the dark trying to figure out what that sleep is, like see if you're gonna hit the sleep. But as far as what I've done with myself, just I've just tried to spend time by my own, like no sounds, no TV, no nothing. And just like, especially driving, like talking to myself while driving or like in the shower.
Oh my god, dude! I do all that stuff that you just mentioned as a sleep loss. Like I drive with
Yeah.
no music on and I sleep roast in the shower. Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Or like, yeah, pretend like there's a person there and you're just talking to them and trying to like beat each other up to get to the sleep.
Right. All right, that's cool, man. That's cool. All right. Do you have any last minute questions before we wrap the interview?
Nah, I'm not sure.
All right.
I would need to do some sleep processing.
All right, we're good then. All right, Bartek, thanks for coming out and doing this interview. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate your honesty. If anything, that was like great. Like you went out and talked about something uncomfortable about the
Yeah.
encyclopedia thing, and I think that's gonna help a lot of EJs out. So awesome, man.
Sweet. Thank you for
All right.
having me.
Peace out, dude.
Bye.